Hello everybody, Sam Privet. Today I'm going to talk about some of the creature generation bugs that I've found in some of these maps. First one I'm going to show you is in Knight's Quest. So there's actually no creature being displayed here, and there's supposed to be one. You can see it's you're getting the attack combat cursor, so there is supposed to be something here, but it's not being displayed, and that's because it's actually rendering as this value 28, which is like a random monster token. And I thought this was actually from the map editor, but Knight's Quest is actually a window or a DOS map, not a Windows 95 map. So I'm not really sure what this monster token placeholder means, but there are 4 tiers of monsters, and I think I can pull this up. Let's see, is it in my creature stack values Excel file here? So there are C3 creatures, C4 creatures, C5 creatures, and C6 creatures. These are like the levels of creatures, and then I created like a min and max value for about what we would see in each I don't know, cluster or whatever. And so I reran the game a whole bunch and ran through those values to determine what was what. I looked at a lot of maps that had C4, C5, even some C6 creatures just to get some more samples of what was there. And it was interesting that like Troll and Hydra were included in the C6 creatures, but the unicorns were not. And same thing with cavalries. Cavalries and unicorns were both C5, but trolls and hydras were C6. So I just thought that was strange. It could be that I just didn't see those values in the data, and it could be that this is a little off, but this is much, much better than it was before, because in my, like, a lot of the creature stacks around where you start in Claw are C3 creatures. And that, of course, by the way, in case I didn't mention this, C3 is the byte 8 hex tile value in the tile map. So byte 8 of the tile map has a C3 there, and that says, hey, there's going to be a randomly generated creature from one of these stacks located at that spot on the map initially. And so anyway, I observed kind of the random range of creatures there to come up with this. I did the same for C4 and C5. And it's probably not perfect, but it's much better than it was, because before you would be fighting like 15 peasants, and that's just too few, or 20 goblins or 15 goblins, and it's usually supposed to be like 30 or 40. So anyway, I created this table, fed it into the AI, gave it my various values, and then said, let's basically just update the random monster tiles, and let's update the map format.md file, and it did that. And so I want to just pull up what that looks like in Claw, for example. So we have some sprites here. We have some peasants. Let's go see how many peasants we're going to fight. Yep, this is about 60, well, 12. This is 58 peasants, so that's a reasonable number. Let's see how many archers we're going to fight here. Yep, that's perfectly a reasonable number. That is 17 archers. How about pikemen? How many pikemen are we going to fight? I'm guessing like 20. Okay, 24. So that fix worked nicely. So I'm happy with that. I have another addition though to make. So I discovered, if you remember that missing monster token tile, so the tile that was showing this, but it was showing up invisibly in that map. Let's see if we can pull up the. Let's see, monster. All right, how about we try this? Let me see if I can pull it up in Knight's Quest and show that it's working, and then I'm going to show you how I fixed it. So we have Knight's Quest, loading it up. And here, yeah, this is actually showing the monster token. So I don't know what was going on with that other build, but this one is rendering the monster token here correctly over whatever tile it needs to be. But it's not supposed to be this. This needs to be assigned to be some other creature value. You know, like genies or griffins, and my right-click function doesn't work yet. So that's what I want to replace. And so basically that sprite here is replacing 0xbf in the byte 8, which is another random monster. I think it's the Windows 95 map editor. I can't explain why it's in Knight's Quest unless Knight's Quest was like retroactively edited somehow. I don't know. But anyway, I want to make it choose one of C3 to C6 randomly. So I reloaded Knight's Quest a whole bunch and looked at what creatures were generated in that tile, and I was seeing everything from like a pack of dwarves to like phoenixes. So to me, that said C3 to C6 randomly. It could be something else, but I just want to get something in place that works and is reasonable, and I can fine tune it later. So I'm basically highlighting that it's being displayed as this token, which is, it's actually not 29, but it is 1C. Genies are 1B in hex. This is 1C. So my decimal value here is incorrect because it's 28. It is number 29 because it is zero-based indexing, but it is 0028 and 0x1C in hex. And so we're going to replace that. So it goes through, makes a replacement, and then I said, okay, let's document it. We do some documentation, and let's have a look at what happens in the build when we do that. Oh, oops, I loaded Claw instead of Knight's Quest. So let's have another look at this, but select Knight's Quest this time. So here we have, well, it looks like archers of some kind. Let's just reload it again and see what other random creature gets loaded there. Knight's Quest. Go 101, 495. And somewhere up here, this time we got some gargoyles. So there's, you know, just fixing minor little things like that, but it's important to get these things done correctly. And I also want to look at the hero swap mechanics. So we have, so let's load this up and we'll recruit 2 heroes, and I'll show you something that's funny with my recruiting. So we have our heroes doing their swap mechanics. One of the issues though is, let's just dismiss this guy. So I can't move my creature around when they're the last creature. So that's one weird thing. I can't dismiss here on these. That has disappeared. So we have a couple of like weird quirks to fix there. They cannot collide sprites. One hero must attempt to pick up the other one. If the heroes are on the same team, the hero that's selected should get their swap cursor from the adventure map, which if I go here, it's like adventure mice. So it should use this cursor. When heroes select or target other heroes, they're not the same team. This will trigger a battle. And when you have one hero selected in the locator screen and you're controlling that hero's routing, hovering over the other friendly heroes or possibly targeting them with a routing X should show the swap cursor. This Adventure Mice 8 again. Targeting a hero of a different team with an X will treat that hero as a pickup tile also, but that will trigger a battle, and that will use cursor 5 here of Adventure Mice. So the main thing to fix are the cursors and the hero being able to select another hero as a pickup tile. And yeah, there's a few other little minor things that hopefully we fix. I forget what we fixed exactly in this, but let's have a look. So we go through, do some attempts at fixing some stuff on the routing, and then I ask, should we possibly rewrite, like move some of the render UI things into the other state? No. And this was something I had referenced in a previous video where my routing is now going under certain things and under the other hero. So let's move over here. Let's recruit Yogg the Barbarian. And okay, so now that, so I guess I saved it after this, but initially you can see in this case, oh, actually, no, that is correct now. The X was placed under the hero somehow. Oh, this is from the real game, so this is what's supposed to happen instead of the X being placed under the hero. And then the hero swap screen, swap win. It is minor, but the second hero, when they open the dialog box for a creature by clicking on it, the dismiss button does not work. It only works for the first hero, the hero on the first side. So let's test that here as well. Let's combine some of these guys, see if this is working. So first of all, okay, that's coming up. And that did work now, so we did fix that. But before that, that wasn't working. Let me go back to the previous build and just see if that was working. Just got the creature. So they walked on top of each other here. Yeah, see, the dismiss isn't working. So that's a weird, that was the bug basically. Here they're on top of each other, and I could restore the sprites if I select the other hero and move them, but that was the bug before. So anyway, I fixed it, and then the bug was that the route X was being placed under it, and then I wasn't able to dismiss. It's probably a small 1 to 2 line fix. It went through. It couldn't find the latest game main CPP, so I gave it the latest game main CPP. And then it again came up with some weird. It came up with some weird order. It had some weird issue here I didn't like in the text, so I stopped it and I responded. Fix that and fix the render order of the routing X so that it covers another hero when trying to either attack another hero or do a swap. And then also, so I think that worked. I mean, we just demonstrated that it worked in my final build. And I said, can you document the hero swap screen? And does anything need to change in the swap window or just in game main CPP? And now it found a bug in troop move. The last creature disable check was doing something. And then there's this hero B. There's hero A and hero B in the swap screen, and hero B wasn't, it just didn't have the check working. Passing the address to with hero B is the right thing to do, and we should keep it natural. So made these fixes. Troop move, we updated that. Now, a very minor thing, when either hero has only one creature left, the hero swap screen, they're unable to click once and then click on a second slot on their side to be able to move the unit to a different slot. They should not be able to move it to the other side, but they should be able to move it between slots within their own side. And then this rendering issue with the X on top of the hero to be exchanged with or attacked is not working. The X is still being rendered underneath. Did this get removed somehow? Can you look at that again? This goes through. And then can you add this one line about the slot fix in troopmove.md? And it did. Well, now the dismissing from the hero screen is no longer working. Did you drop a fix from the troop move file somehow, or did you use an earlier version of the file? So it just didn't implement the hero slot context for hero B correctly. So once that was done, it did. And that basically fixed everything like we saw in the build 4. There's also another bug that I want to look at here. So there's a windmill bug. So let's see. We can probably just use this version. And let's load up, I believe it's Land Bridge that has this windmill bug. So we're going to go to Land Bridge 101.495. So if you look over here, we have here's a regular windmill. This windmill's fine. So that windmill's rendering fine. This windmill is not rendering fine. There's something strange going on here. So what I did to figure out what was going on there is I went in and I took the 10 byte tile maps, and I took the 2 frames above the windmill and these 2 frames these 4 tiles. I said frames, I meant tiles. So these are the 2 tiles above the windmill. These are the 2 tiles that make up the upper half of the windmill animation, and these are the 2 tiles that make up the lower part of the windmill animation. Now, you can see the AD is the entrance tile, 2D is just the other parts of the windmill. Here we had AD, and then there's a 3-6 here that's like overlapping it somehow. That's a little strange. There's a 2D here somehow that's overlapping it. Or the 2D is what's expected. This 3-6 is like, I think it's a mountains. But this was the one that was not decoding correctly, and this was the one that was decoding correctly, both on the same map. So that's cool. That gives me a control and an experiment to test and compare and see what I can figure out. And then here's the additional windmill on Land Bridge that's also decoding correctly, and this one doesn't have some value here in the byte 8 for the windmill sprite. So I gave it this info, and I also highlighted that the windmill was these animation frames in object 732, and maybe something is being flipped unnecessarily. Let's take a look and figure it out. It basically determined that the flags in bit 3 were being ignored somehow, and the mountain needs to be H flipped. It's a mirrored terrain tile, etc. And then this worked great. And like, let's fix this. So basically there was something strange in my H flip for all object layers became H flip for layer 1 only, which maps the map format ground truth. And this started to also get me to think about what's the difference between layer 1 and layer 2. And as I go, like, let's just actually go up and look at this. I can explain it here. This is a windmill tile with, let's see, 07 is object 07, and 70 is the frame of the base frame of the animation. This is 07, 69 is the base frame of the animation. This one doesn't have anything in level 1, or sorry, level 2, but in level 1 we have 07 and 5B. And in level 1, we have 0, 7, and 6, 2. So level 1 is the lower portion of the windmill, and the upper portion of the windmill is level 2. And I call these level 2. They might actually, maybe it would be smarter to call them layer 2. They're abbreviated as L2 and L1. And so I realize probably what's going on here is the L1 is something the hero can walk in front of. It's like a layer 1. And L2 is something the hero can walk behind. And so I had bugs previously in this, many of them, and I've been kind of struggling with getting the right definition. And this was kind of the clue that, like, oh, there's actually something going on with the L1, L2, and that is why I need to care about that. And so this H flip for L1 layer only fixes a bunch of stuff, and that's a clue of that my rendering before wasn't correct, and that it's H flip for layer 1 only is it's essentially the answer. And I haven't seen anything else since I fixed this. I haven't seen anything else that was incorrectly flipped on the adventure map screen. So I want to update the information in map format.md, and let's actually just quickly go in here and look at the build and just see if that actually did work. So we're going to go to land bridge. Okay. 101,495 to see the whole map. And that windmill is rendering correctly. That's nice. And what about the other ones? They're rendered correctly too, looks like. Let's see, I only remember that one there. There might be another one somewhere else. Okay, well, the two that I can remember right now are both rendering correctly. So it's, this one's fine, and so was the initial one. So anyway, that bug worked. And then I have one more bug I want to show, which is the mill bug. So my mill event, oh, actually, no, there's two bugs here. So let's address these. So why not? Let's just open previous build well before this was fixed. And we're going to have to go fight some gargoyles here. Skip the battle. And now this is a bug that was annoying me, that when I go onto a walk-on tile event, it's the shrine, we were going to learn the spell Bless. Well, now we're going to do a pickup. And the pickup tiles, you don't actually move, but you target this tile here, but you don't actually move. And so, okay, we don't have enough movement points, so we need to wait and retarget it. Okay, that didn't demonstrate the bug correctly. Let's try a different build because this didn't work for targeting that. So render. Okay, let's try this one. Okay, so we learned view resources, and now we're going to pick this up and we trigger the same event that we're on at the same time as this pickup event. So that was something that was bothering me. And then also there's one more bug that I should show in probably the same build. Let's go to Badlands, for example. And we're too far away from the map on Badlands, so we'll have to restart it for a different location. Just need a map where I know I'm going to start close to the mill. And we're not starting close to the mill on either of these. So we'll just keep re-rendering here until we get this. Badlands, okay. Still getting the same one. I really believe in my RNG. Still the same one. Great. Yeah, it's just, it'll save us so much time if we just render the other one. Still the same one. Is my RNG even working? Is it seeded? I always terrified that the AI is going to insert a fixed seed and just make everything the same all the time. Still the same one. Okay, that's really frustrating. Okay, we finally got something else here. Good. It's going to take us a little while to walk over there, but we'll get there. So we need to get over here to this mill. It would be better if we just spawned over there. Actually, yeah, let's just redo that, because the sorceress is equally terrible for this demonstration. Okay, this one's better. So, a nicely rendered windmill there. Okay, and what day of the week is it? Let's see, day 4. So we're going here. We get some, okay, that seems normal, right? And we didn't get the 500 gold. Let's go back again and see. Okay, that looks correct. And let's just see what happens next week, if it gives us 1,000 gold or, you know, anything at all, really. Okay, so day 7, we have 108,000 gold, 106,000 gold, something. So now it's the new week. Does this get reset? Okay, Cyclops growth +5. We have 107,000 gold, so that's what that was. We got 500 gold again, so it didn't rotate. We didn't get it credited either. So there's a bug with the mill functionality. So that's what I highlighted here. It's supposed to do this. This is the original spec from my events drafting. And then also let's see here. So we have the mill root cause confirmed. The initial game state isn't in any of the uploaded files, blah, blah, blah. I forgot to give it the maps somehow. Then it said, oh, I see it now. All right, so it comes up with a fix. And this gate walk-on trigger when Sentinel is already fired. This will be the fix for that first simultaneous shrine plus ore pickup dialogues. And apparently the same issue was there for the campfire. The campfire could trigger that as well. The mill shows 500, always, never alternates, credits 0. And this 0x98 type was never added to the init game state tile scan. And We have to have some new day flip logic to flip this. It's correct, but the default gold this week in the struct means if milliseconds were ever partially initialized, it would always produce 1,000. That's the secondary symptom of the same missing init bug. So it was never initialized, so it was always putting it as 0, even though this was alternating and that logic was there. And I remember seeing that logic in there. It just wasn't actually doing anything. So we made these changes, and let's go in and quickly check and make sure that it worked. And then we're done. So first let's test the first problem in claw, the or pickup when we're on the shrine. So that's working. It's just doing the pickup now that we're on the shrine, so I'm happy to see that. Now let's test the mill in Badlands. Let's see if we get a proper spawn. Let's see. Yeah, we got a good spawn. Okay. Okay. Almost there. Okay. So now it's 1,000 this week, and I believe it's just randomly selected, and we did, I didn't check our gold total before, but let's just run through the week and see if it actually did get credited. Hope it got credited. In my brain, the math isn't mathing on that, so we have 108,000. Let's see if we do we get 500 gold now from this? Yep, so we got the 108.5. And let's just see if we get another 1,000 if we do it now after this. Okay, so what are we at? We are at 115,500 gold. We got 1,000. Are we at 160? Yeah, so I think we're okay. I didn't see the initial one get credited, but it's possible that's a bug, but I think I just wasn't paying attention. So I think it's correct. So I'm happy with both of those bugs for the mill fix. And let's see. Yeah, actually that's all. That's all for this video.